We always do this every week, kind of figuring out our favorite plays on Underdog. Really fun site to play on. We appreciate the sponsorship, and it's a fun site. It's flipping around there and clicking on the names, and building your plays are always really fun. But I'll let you start out. Give me a couple of plays that you find yourself you liking on Underdog this week.
Sure, Scott. Yeah, let's bounce back from that Cam Ward pick last week. I'm gonna start with A.D. Mitchell. You had a great call on Mitchell last week. I mean, without Garrett Wilson, he's the number one wide receiver there, coming off the best game of his career, 8 catches on 12 targets, 102 yards. He's a guy with elite speed and athleticism, so he can get there for you on one play too. I like him higher than 3.5 catches. I like him higher than 46.5 yards. 2 of my favorite numbers of the week. Second one, let's go with a couple running backs. Was really disappointed in the Steelers defense last week and their offense. Just against Buffalo, 250 rushing yards allowed. I worry about this spot for them against Baltimore. I think it's a great spot for Derrick Henry. I like him to score a touchdown here. I like him higher than 83.5 rushing yards as well. Second one is Bucky Irving. In his first game back last week, got quite a bit of usage, 17 carries, 2 catches, and now a really good spot here at home against the Saints. His rushing yard prop is 69.5. I like him higher than that. Also like him to score a touchdown. A.D. Mitchell, Derrick Henry, and Bucky Irving to start. What about you, Scott?
I had Irving on my list, so I always like when we match up. I'm going to go a little different this week. I'm going to give you a triumvirate of tight ends to start out my list here. The first is Tyler Warren, who you mentioned a little bit earlier. I like his a lot higher than 53.5 receiving yards. We mentioned Bengals have struggled as tight ends. So has Jacksonville. They are 31st in catches allowed to tight ends. I think it's a really good matchup for Tyler Warren. It's a game that, with a 47.5 total, should be some passing. He only had 4 targets last week. He's a little bit down right now. He's only had one top 12 week in the last 4 weeks. But I think this is a really good spot for Tyler Warren. I think he gets in the 60 and 70-yard range. So I really like that. And then 2 guys with really low numbers. I like Darren Waller higher than 28.5 receiving yards. And also the exact same number. I like Evan Engram more than 28.5 receiving yards. These are both guys that came back last week, were parts of their offenses. Engram had 79 yards on 7 targets last week. All season highs across the board for Engram. I think 20.5 is just way too low a number. I think he goes higher than that pretty easily for the Broncos against the Raiders this week. I think that they're starting to use Engram in kind of that little weapon. He's going to move them all around, really get the ball involved. 20.5 is just way too low. And then with Waller, I just think that he ran routes on 71% of the dropbacks last week. He's really involved in the Miami offense when he came back. He had 47 yards himself and only 3 targets, but 28.5, I think a couple passes gets there for Waller. So 3 tight ends this week, a little bit different than normal. I think all 3 of those guys go higher than their numbers. But why don't you give me a couple more of your favorites?
I love those calls. Okay, let's start with some low numbers too. This is really a target against the Tennessee Titans. We're going to take a couple Browns in the lowest total.
Oh, wow, look at you jumping in the low total game. I love it.
First, I never expected to be highlighting Shedeur Sanders on this show, but he's looked a little bit better than I thought he would in his first 2 games and gets a great matchup here against the Titans, who've given up big plays in the passing game recently, and the numbers on these Browns are just so low. Sanders over 0.5 touchdowns. Some of his receivers too, like Harold Fannin, over 3.5 catches and 36.5 yards. He's gone over 40 plus yards in 5 of the last 6 games or something. Even Jerry Jeudy's numbers are so low. It's 2.5 catches, 28 receiving yards. I saw a stat, Shedeur is holding the ball longer than any other QB, which can be good, can be bad, but he's looking for deep balls. Jeudy can beat that number with one pass, so can Fannin. Really, this is a play against these Titans, who I don't think are going to be able to do anything on offense. And like I said, the man-to-man defense has given up huge plays in the passing game recently. And then another QB we've been talking about just about every week on here, Jacoby Brissett. I got to go right back to him here. The numbers jumped 10 yards since yesterday. It opened at 248.5, which I really loved. Now it's at 258.5. But he's gone over that number in all 7 of his starts. So why not, right? 258.5 yards. And Michael Wilson, 62.5 receiving yards. This is assuming that Harrison is out.
Yeah.
But Wilson absolutely smashed with Harrison out. 25 catches on 33 targets over those 2 games and over 100 yards in both. With a pretty good matchup here. Not the greatest matchup, but a trailing game script in which they're going to be passing all game. I think Wilson would get there one way or the other. So yeah, some Browns pass catchers and Brissett and Wilson.
I expected the Brissett-Wilson combo from you. I did not expect the Browns. I really like that. I like getting a little different there. For my last couple here, I'm going to stick with a game that you and I have talked about already, but I'm going to go with the Packers offense here. I like Jordan Love higher than 217 passing yards. I know his numbers have not been high passing wise, but I think that Bears will push them enough that the Love's going to throw the ball. I think that Love really found something last week with the 4 touchdowns. I really like Green Bay this week. And then I'm gonna pair that with Christian Watson, higher than 55.5 receiving yards. We talked about him a little bit earlier. We're talking quarterbacks, but I just think that I think he's the guy right now. And again, we'll have to check the injury news on Jaden Reed and obviously on Golden also. But Watson had 10 targets last week. You mean Christian Watson with anywhere near even 7-8 targets? He's going to hit one big play. He had 80 yards in those 10 targets. His target share is over 33% the last 2 weeks. Like, you give me this guy with this talent, this speed, and just give me the ball. I just need targets for Watson. I love it. I love the hire there. The Bears do give big pass plays too. They've given up a lot of deep balls, a lot of chunk plays in the air. So I think Watson gets in the 70-80 range, maybe a little higher. I think 55.5, just too low a number there. So I like Christian Watson higher than the 55.5 receiving yards for your Green Bay Packers.
I love that. Watson was the last one I had written down.
Beautiful. I love it. And then my last one, the extra one, we talked about a little last week. DeVaughn Vele is 35.5 receiving yards. With the amount of production he had last week, I just think you toss him in there for 35. He's going to get enough targets that I think he gets over there and then higher there. And going against in this game, they're going to have to throw the ball late. I think Vele gets in the 40-50 range pretty easily.
I like that one too.
We are proud to partner with Underdog Fantasy for this NFL season. Underdog offers great DFS pick'em games. Pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's games for a chance to win big. You can win up to 1,000 times your money in a single night by picking between 2 and 8 players to build a pick'em entry. Sign up with RWNFL to claim your first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. Don't forget to register with my promo code RWNFL to claim your first-time deposit offer. Must be 18 plus, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, and present in this state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Are you concerned with your next play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783. Or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369.